we got Trump about to speak live, guys. Glad to have you guys. Welcome to Rep America. We have Trump is going live any moment now. He's holding what is called a bilateral meeting. All right, so we're going to be looking forward to that. I think it's about to come up, guys. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the show. And we have Trump, again, he's about to go live here. So let me just take a look at a few things. We're going to the White House here. And we're going to
He's quite tall, right? And $1 trillion.
This was yesterday. But we do have he's going to be going live here very soon, any moment now. We will be hearing from President Trump. Daily Catch You says, please give me good news, bro. What's up, bro? Thanks for joining. Thanks for jumping on. We got lots of good news, man. We're doing a lot of winning. We're doing a lot of winning, man. I gotta tell you that. It's on and popping. It is a great 2026. We're having our 250th anniversary here any moment. In 2 months, we're going to have our 250th anniversary. And guys, because of what's going on and because of everything that I do and because you guys know I love to research and learn about all this stuff, and because it's our 250th year anniversary, I have been going through and reading things like this. Okay? If you don't know what this is, let me turn this over for you. This is called Common Sense, and that man's name on the book is called Thomas Paine. Okay? It's a beautiful book, by the way, Easton Press. I love it. This is Thomas Paine, and I'm reading up on this, and this is part of the history of our country, guys. All right? And so, again, Trump is about to go live. This is what the screen looks like. They're still waiting to bring him on live, so he's not live yet. As soon as he goes live, I'm gonna put him on for you guys. But again, guys, this is the book I'm reading, and not just because it's our 250th, but because I love our country and we have the best political system in the history of the world, and it was developed in part because of people like this. Common Sense by Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine was in America before our Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. He was in America writing about why we should have our independence and giving us all of the arguments for that. Okay? And that's in this book. And he, along with others, a few other people wrote about it. And this is one of the books. It's called Common Sense by Thomas Paine. And it gives us common sense arguments for why we should be independent from England and why we should not be ruled by a king. And how he also spelled out how a republic, that's what we are. We are a constitutional republic. How a republic with representatives representing the people is the proper way to go. Okay? He actually explains how we should have representatives, how we should go about electing these people into power. And he gave some other different reasons. He explained how we should build up a navy because we have all the resources for a navy. He explains how at that time we had no debt, but we have a great country. And if we did separate ourselves from England and gain our independence, we could start building ships. We can go into a little bit of debt to start building our ships. But because we have all the resources here more than any other country in Europe who was building ships at the time, importing their resources, we could do it at a much lower cost and, eventually start selling ships even if we didn't use them and become a ship maker. So there's a lot of things that he talks about in there. I'm just giving you kind of a bunch of little different pieces in it. So someone says, so where is President? He's going to be here soon, guys. Here's the screen. Again, President Trump is about to go live. I'm covering it for you live. We're going to do it together. And as you know, when I do live streams with you, when I cover Trump live, I bring you some good commentary. We talk about it. We go through some numbers. We go through some facts. We go through some trends. We go through what has worked in the past and what has not, and what is real, what is fluff. We talk about all that stuff. Someone says, I regret I vote for Trump, his stupid old fart. Can you say Trump hate? Can you say beta male? Can you say a Trump hater? I got the buttons for you guys. Should I hit the buttons on them?
You are a Trump hater, and you are a beta male.
Sir, Mr. FS 13624, you are a Trump hater, and you are a beta male.
Beta male. You are a Trump hater, and you are a beta male.
So we got a few things happening. We, as you know, I love to share with you what I'm learning as I read these books. And there's two very prominent books that I'm in the middle of at the moment. And again, guys, this is Common Sense by Thomas Paine, the guy that wrote about and gave arguments for our independence from England. Okay, he said that we should be independent from England. He spelled out a lot of the reasons here. He says that we should not be ruled by a king, definitely not the King of England. And so he talks about what all the problems are. Definitely kings are far away and separate from the people that are living in the country, and they don't really understand what's happening. And that's why representatives, a republic with people that represent the people, is a better way to do it. And he talks about how to do that. And then I have some other things that we talk about, because although Thomas Paine talked about representatives and a republic and a good way to govern ourselves separate from England, it wasn't perfect. What came after him was a little more polished. We had a few more things. We had the Federalist Papers. Let me see if I have that here. Yes, I do. This right here, this is the Federalist Papers. And let me open it up for you. This came after Thomas Paine. Okay? And this, if you can see on your screen, is where you had Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay talk about how we should write up a potential constitution, all of that kind of stuff. So they talk about some more details. They get into it. But then you also have a lot of years that have passed. Right now we are 250 years later, okay? We're about to celebrate our 250-year anniversary. And again, guys, we're still waiting for Trump to go live. He should be live now, so sometimes they take a little longer. Sometimes for security reasons, they don't happen exactly when you think they're going to happen. So we're still waiting for him to go live. This is a live feed that you're looking at, so we're still waiting for that. Now, also we're 250 years later. So again, guys, we had Thomas Paine writing Common Sense, arguing for why we should be independent from England. Then you have the Federalist Papers, okay, where we talk about we make some adjustments, and we talk about what would be a great way to write our Constitution. But now we have, many years later, learn from what we have created 250 years ago, and we have Thomas Sowell. Okay, Thomas Sowell came through, And he says, look, all this is amazing. We have the best country in the world. It's the best political ideology, best political system on the planet. We live in a free market capitalist system that is phenomenal. It allows for great growth and all that kind of stuff. So, but there's some adjustments that could be made. And we're going to go through that. There are some major adjustments. Right now, we have what Thomas Sowell describes. Well, I mean, here's the reality. People that study Thomas Sowell, people like Charlie Kirk, they are in some way a threat to our current political system. They are a threat to the people holding power right now. And you're going to understand what that means. This is not a right versus left. It's something that is affects everybody that's in power, especially in our system right now. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate the fact that we have the best political system, but it's not perfect. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is there are some major problems. And the biggest problem that we have is the political system that we have is rewarding the wrong people. And those people don't want you to know about that. Okay? And the Thomas Sowell now has a radical, crazy, but great solution for this that they don't want you to know about. And I'm about to show you that in a little bit. Well, depending on how long it takes till we, get Trump live here. So again, guys, we're waiting for Trump to go live. So let me see here. So the problem that we have in our political system, one of the major issues that we have is that it's rewarding the wrong people. People right now in our political system are they're more so professional, let's say, campaigners. They're professional campaigners. They're experts at re-election instead of experts at solving problems for the people they represent. And now some people will say, well, we have term limits, so we can solve for some of these problems, right? But that term limits don't solve the problems that you think they solve. People think of term limits because whenever they see some older member of Congress that is having trouble walking, or older member of our House of Representatives who is not able to talk that well anymore, and they're just kind of past their time. Biden was a president, so we're not really talking about a president, but this does also apply to presidents. But we do have people think of, hey, we could have term limits to solve some of these problems. What are our term limits? The issue we have is we have terms, but no limits. And if we put term limits on things, that doesn't solve our problems. Again, we think term limits will solve the problem of old age, but that's a very small part of the problem. And it only takes care of one house of power. Only one of them, okay? One body of power is affected by that mostly. But here is the main issue. In the House of Representatives, okay, these are representatives that represent our states, and you have like 450 or so of those because states like California have more than states like Wyoming. House of Representatives have 2-year terms and unlimited re-elections. So think about this. If I became a representative for the state of California, which was where I live, I will be in office for 2 years. And in those 2 years, one of those 2 years at the minimum, maybe 1.5 of my 2 years will be taken up by campaigning to get reelected. That's the problem. So again, guys, the major problem that we have in our political, I'm going to go back because some of you are just joining. The major problem that we have in our system is the fact that it's awarding the wrong people. It's rewarding the wrong people. Right now, we have people that are professional campaigners. They're experts at re-election, not experts at problem solving, not experts at taking care of the people they represent and speaking to their problems and solving for their problems. And right now, we have terms but no limits. House of Representatives have 2-year terms, unlimited re-election. The Congress has 6-year terms, unlimited re-election. Okay? And there is a great solution to this, but it's something very radical. And we have another problem that we have. So we have people that are professional campaigners, experts at getting reelected. So that's all they're doing. So in the House of Representatives, they're in there for 2 years, and then they have to get reelected again. So in those 2 years, 1 full year is taken up by campaigning to get reelected. So they're not really working for us. Okay, they have staffers that are paid by us. They have all this stuff going on, and they're working on getting reelected this whole time. So what's the other issue? The other really, really big issue that we have that nobody talks about is this. They are underpaid. So why is that a problem? So we have politicians in our country running our country, making decisions for our country, setting rules, setting policy, setting laws, managing budgets, dealing with all kinds of different issues from military to health to pharmaceutical, all kinds of different stuff that's going on. And they're people that should be good at what they do and that can make good decisions for the people for the greatest country in the world. However, they're underpaid. So think about this. If we're going to hire people, if we're going to elect people to represent us and take care of us and help solve our problems, we want to have the best people to do that. Right? So if we hire experts, great people that know how to solve problems, experts in their field, lawyers, a lot of them are attorneys, surgeons, all kinds of different highly educated, highly specialized people that know what they're doing in these different fields, right? If we have them working in our political system and they're underpaid, well, here's the reality of the situation. If you're an expert in your field and you're an attorney or a doctor or this or that, whatever the case may be, economist, you're in finance, you know how to deal with money, you can get paid a lot more money privately, not working for the government. Why the hell would you go and work and campaign and put your family through this, that, and the other, and only to make way less money than you would make working for yourself or in the private market, in the private sector? Why would you do that? And I have a comment here that says, politics shouldn't be a career. Our political leaders should be people who have succeeded in the sector, who know what the problems are, not people who seek monetary rewards out of politics. That is correct. Let me put that on the screen for you just so you can have that as well. So we are hiring, who are we electing? If the experts in these fields can get paid more money working privately, doing their specific skill that they're good at in the private sector, getting paid way more than what we pay them, who is actually being elected to run our political system? Who are our representatives and our senators? They are people who may have gotten degrees in their fields, but are not good at making money. They don't perform well. They are not good in their field that they're experts at, right? So they're way more likely to get into our political system because they have some maybe campaign. They're more social, and they learn how to campaign. They learn how to raise funds. They basically get themselves elected, and they stay elected. They do everything they can to stay elected for the rest of their lives because they know, or they may not think they can do well, or whatever the case may be, they are not able to do well on the private sector. So now we have a bunch of people running our political system who are not the greatest performers, maybe not the greatest problem solvers, but they're damn good at campaigning. They're damn good at getting reelected. That's one of the main issues. What is a solution for this problem? What does Thomas Sowell say? Now, this is a little crazy, and I would like to open my book here so I could show you this. Let me see if I can pull this up for you, if this even works. Let me see here. Let's see here. Thomas Sowell has come in, and he has something crazy, but it makes sense. And let me pull this up here. Be cool if I can get this on your screen. Ooh, I think I can. Let's take a look. So Thomas Sowell comes through. You know what? I'm trying to put it on your screen. I have it on the other side, but let's see here. Overhead. There we go. There's an overhead right there. But it's not close enough. Let's see if we can zoom that in for you. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, Thomas Sowell. That's not pulling over. There we go. Let's see here. Where is this? There we go. Right here. And get my camera out of the way. He says here, one of the greatest economic moves we could make would be to pay every member of Congress $1 million per year with no perks and no pension. Paying this salary to each member of Congress for the entire 21st century would cost less than running the Department of Agriculture for 1 year. This would pay for itself many times over because many government agencies and programs could be eliminated by a Congress not concerned with raising campaign money from special interests that benefit from bureaucracies ostensibly set up to serve the public. $1 million a year, he says. Let's get the AC going. And we're going to have Trump here any moment. Let's see. Should be here soon. So let me see here. Let's get this going on. Okay. So that's that piece right there. So Thomas Sowell says pay them $1 million a year. That's crazy. Pay them $1 million. You know what they currently get paid in Congress, Senate? About $140,000, $150,000 a month. I'm sorry, a year. $150K a year, give or take, are their salaries. And if they're like majority, if they're like some of the like leaders in their parties, they get like $200K. Thomas Sowell says pay them $1 million. And if we did that for the whole 21st century, it would still, as he says here, it would still be less than running the Department of Agriculture for 1 year, for just 1 year. If we paid all the members of Congress $1 million a year for the whole 21st century, it's still less than running the Department of Agriculture for 1 year. $1 million per year is what he says. Thomas Sowell's solution is to pay them $1 million a year, because they get paid, good people in their fields would get paid much more than that in the private sector. So what we're doing is we're not getting people that are good at what they do. We're getting people that are good at campaigning, good at re-election. That's the problem. That's the issue that we run into. So that's a major one right there. People think the big problem is old age. People are getting too old and they're not able to make good decisions. The problem's deeper than that. It's way deeper than that. $1 million a year for their salaries. Someone here says $1 million a year for what? For their salaries. No pension, no retirement, no nothing. You give them $1 million per year. No perks, no pensions, no retirement. So they are motivated to work for the American people, to work for the people they represent. And we are hiring people, we're electing people that just want to keep getting elected, reelected, and all their efforts throughout the whole time they're serving in political power, serving supposedly representing us. The whole time they're out there supposedly representing us, they are working on getting reelected the whole time. They're worried about their public image. They're worried about reelection. They're worried about all kinds of other things, everything but solving our problems. So that's why right now you have things like major differences between the people, the needs and wants of the people and the people that represent them. And this more so is happening in one political party, way more than the other right now. Right now you have one political party making all kinds of crazy decisions for the American people when their voters do not even agree with them. That's the issue that we're having. And guys, again, so we have Trump is going to be here, should be speaking here very soon. We're still waiting for him to come on. So as we wait for Trump to go live, we're just having a little discussion here. So, yeah, right now we have one party that is running on issues that only 20% of their party agree with. That's a major problem. And that's a losing game for that party. Can you guys guess which party this is? Can anybody guess which party I'm talking about? Yep. Right now, yeah, Democrats. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. They're more concerned about, and again, this is not really a right versus left. It's a both sides thing. This thing that I'm talking about, it's a both sides thing. They're both always worried about getting reelected, and they're not very much. They're not making decisions. They're not doing things. They're not creating policies. They're not coming up with ideas. They're not doing things that represent the people that they're supposed to be representing. But one party is doing it way worse than the other, and that's something that, it's an obvious thing. The Democrat leadership, the Democratic politicians, by and large, are doing a horrible job of representing their own voters. So as a result, they're doing a poor job right now of getting reelected. That's why you saw Trump win this last term. The party was not even listening to their own voters. Biden and Kamala together could have easily won the election, but they said, no, everything's fine. Economy is fine. Everything is fine. You guys don't know what you're feeling. Let me tell you what you're feeling. That's what happened. And then they thought that, if they bring on Meg the Stallion and like Cardi B and stuff like that on stage, that they would win the election. And that wasn't enough for their voters. It just wasn't. And Jen is right. They bumped Bernie too. They had someone that would win, Bernie, but then they gave him someone else because she was a woman. And they thought that America will elect the first woman. And they have to, or else they're misogynist. So, again, guys, we're waiting for Trump to go live. He should have been live already. And you were here covering him, but he is, they're taking their time right now. Again, guys, for safety, a lot of times they'll do this. They'll just not go live when they're supposed to, just to throw people off. But can any of you guys think of any of these issues that I'm talking about, these 80-20 issues that I call them, or 90-10, or Trump calls them 95-5. Sometimes he calls them 99-1. These are issues that the politicians, the Democratic leaders are running on these ideas, and their own voters are on the opposite side of the fence on these very same ideas. Can you guys think of any? I'm just curious if where you guys are at. Can you guys think of any of these policies that the Democrats are? There you go. There's one big one. Here's one big one right here. Jen says, kids being trans and women in sports. Men and women's sports. They knew it didn't. They knew their own voters don't want men and women's sports. They knew their own voters know, even though you can call it a small percentage of people or whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. These are things, once you unravel them, that's it. When the cat's out of the bag, it's over. So they ran on these different things, or they did not stop these things, or they did not come out and speak about them. And they kept pushing for, you saw the Olympics. You saw men in the boxing ring with women, beating up women. It's crazy. Makes no sense. But they run on them. And one of the other major issues that I always talk to you guys about on the channel is what this person just said. Dems run on hate Trump. That's all they have. That's not a winning game. That's not a policy. That's not a plan. That's not an idea. It's definitely not a new idea. Hate Trump, no to Trump, I'm going to stop Trump. Every Democrat right now going for re-election or election, trying to get elected for the midterms, because they're coming up right now. You can go see all of them. Look them all up. All the Democrats running Their number one push, their number one sell to their voters is I'm going to go against Trump. Okay, bro, you've been doing that for a decade or more. Can you give us something that we actually are like, that we need? Like, can you give us something that we really want? Like, can you think of a way to improve our lives? Like, literally anything. For 10 plus years, you've been talking about orange man bad, Trump hate. I got a button. It's so bad. I have a button for it. My button, it's been useful as ever, even to this day. You are a Trump hater and you are a beta male.
You are a Trump hater and you are a beta male.
This button right here.
You are a Trump hater and you are a beta male.
That's Jesse Lee Peterson. That will go on forever because Democrats will never learn. I won't be surprised if 10 years from now, Trump is not even around to run in any election or anything. And they're going to be like, well, I'm against Trumpian ideas. It's like, do you have any ideas of your own? Is there anything you could talk to us about? Anything, any way you want to help us? That's the problem we have. These people are running on Trump. I hate Trump. I'm going to go against Trump. Orange man bad. They have no ideas. And the minute they talk about any other idea, the moment they mention anything besides Trump, they don't align with their own voters. So what are they going for? Well, the crazy part is they are going for re-election. And unfortunately for them and for the leftist party, the Democrat Party, they are very much in tune with radical leftism, far leftism. That's what gets them excited to go out and vote. So what do? They come out and they do Trump is bad, talk about far left stuff, talk about socialism now. They're openly okay with discrimination against certain types of people when I thought they were the party of humanity and liberty and liberalism and all that kind of stuff. But they openly discriminate. They openly talk about race all the time. They openly talk about colors of people's skin. And they have no solutions. They really have no idea what they're doing. They are completely lost. Like this guy right here. Look at this comment. Look at this guy. Look at this comment that they put. They call people pedos and all these kind of different words. They have nothing to say. They're just they're completely useless. Look, as I said, they get excited about far left things that are not even rooted in reality. I have to remove them from my channel. It's not even rooted in reality. What are you even talking about? What pedo? What? You have no proof, no nothing. Everyone knows that Trump was the one that actually kicked Epstein out. So again, you got a whole party that's dialed into far leftism. It's crazy. And they that's all they got to do to get elected, but they don't actually do anything for their party. They do nothing to help their party. Let's turn that down. So there we go. And turn some of those down in the back. There we go. All right. So, and then we got communism. Guys, we had this guy come out. We had Mamdani come out and go nuts. He made a video about the guy that's paying the most taxes in his city. And he just got rid of him. Let me show you what I mean. Look at this. Let me pull this up for you.
Miami headquarters.
Just in the last few days, you made that.
Yes, we
In
actually.
reaction.
You know, our company's thinking about making a $6 billion investment in New York City.
350 Park. Are you going to go through with that building?
We probably will go through the building when it's all said and done, but I got to tell you, it's a real topic of debate. The only decision that we've made with no regrets in the last few days is to expand the size of our office footprint in our new Miami headquarters.
Just in the last few days, you made that.
Yes, we
in
actually.
reaction to New York?
In reaction to New York. We filed the permit with the city of Miami. We've added several 100,000 square feet of new space in our new building. We will add far more jobs in Miami over the next decade as an immediate and direct consequence of the mayor's poor decision here with respect to his posting of that video.
The guy, Mamdani, goes through and I'm going to put up another video. Let's see. This is the other one we want to see. There's a video where he literally talks about, he says, the guy put my life in danger. Mamdani comes out, makes a video in front of Griffin's house, and blocks away from where a CEO was murdered, blocks away from where a CEO was murdered. Mamdani makes a video for the whole world to see, pointing out where Griffin's house is. And Griffin comes out and says, he put my life in danger. It doesn't. The guy paid the most taxes and pays and is scheduled to pay the most taxes in your city, and now you pushed him out. And the crazy part is, you got people that are happy about this kind of stuff. You got mayors that are happy that they're pushing people out. They don't even know how to handle their economics. They have no idea what they're doing. Look at this, for example. Check this out. You want to trip out? Watch this. Watch this.
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown, and if the ones that leave, like, bye.
She's sitting there giggling like she had a wonderful moment on stage, and they're clapping and celebrating her, saying if the millionaires want to leave, well then bye. I mean, I don't know if it's a woman. That's a good question. Look at this.
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown, and if the ones that leave, like, bye.
Look at that.
I think
she had a whole wonderful moment there. Look at her. She couldn't be happier, telling millionaires bye. Absolutely crazy. These people are running your cities. They have no idea what the hell they're doing. They literally are completely lost. What's Mamdani? What does Mamdani want to do when he is trying to tax the rich to pay to cover all the things he wants to do with his social programs, and just to find out that he loses all of his taxpayers, his top taxpayers, and now he has to tax everybody else, which he's already starting to do. Literally what he's doing right now. Makes absolutely no sense. He's taxing everybody, and everyone's cheering on. They're cheering this stuff. Everyone is cheering this stuff on. This is the crazy part. Like, what are you guys talking about? You guys are obviously not tuned into what the hell's going on. You guys think magically it's going to fix itself. Magically, you're the one that's going to pay for it. The same people that are clapping for this are the ones that are actually starting to pay for it. absolutely insane. And we have also, I think we have, let's see, Milton Friedman. Let's see here. Should I pull up Milton Friedman? This is what I really want to show you.
What is painful to me, really, looking back, this argument is not a new argument. This argument was made in the 1920s. People were saying the same thing on both sides they're saying right now. The difference is that 75 years have elapsed, and there have been 4 administrations of both parties that have reduced high income tax rates.
Reagan.
Every single time.
Name them.
The Coolidge, Kennedy, Reagan, and George W. Bush.
Right.
Every single time, the reduction in the tax rates has led to an increase in tax revenue.
Did you hear that? I'm going to play this again so you guys can understand exactly what the hell is going on with our country. It's not what Democrats tell you. They're trying to sell their base on something that is actually the exact opposite. Listen to this. If you're a Democrat specifically, you should listen to this. Listen to what he says. Every time you lower there's a difference between tax rate and tax revenue. Tax rate is what the rate you charge people for their income tax. And tax revenue is how much taxes come in. Okay? And it's been shown that when you reduce the tax rate, that means reduce what you charge people, tax revenue goes up. And if you raise taxes on the rich, tax revenue goes down. Listen to this.
Administrations of both parties that have reduced high income tax rates. Every single time.
Name them.
The Coolidge, Kennedy, Reagan, and George W. Bush.
Right.
Every single time, the reduction in the tax rates has led to an increase in tax revenue. So I hear people on television saying how the government can't afford to give this tax cuts to the rich. You know, they're not giving anything to anybody. What is painful to me?
They're saying we cannot, what he's saying there, he says, I hear people talk all the time on television saying we cannot afford to give tax breaks to the rich. And in fact, you're not giving anything to anybody. That's what he said. Because when you say you can't afford to give tax breaks to the rich, well, the reality is, if you look back at the history of our country, which we have data to look at, if you reduce the tax rates on the rich, you bring in more tax revenue. That's the reality. I've been telling you guys this whole time. You can look it up, ChatGPT, do whatever you want.
The difference is that 75 years have elapsed, and there have been 4 administrations of both parties that have reduced high income tax rates. Every single time.
Name them.
The Coolidge, Kennedy, Reagan, and George W. Bush.
Right.
Every single time, the reduction in the tax rates has led to an increase in tax revenue.
The reduction of tax rates has led to the increase in tax revenue.
So I hear people on television saying how the government can't afford to give this tax cuts to the rich. You know, they're not giving anything to anybody. What is painful to me, really?
That's one of the big ones, guys. That's a big one right there. That is massive. And then you have these people like who you have on your screen smiling, excited, ecstatic about saying, oh, well, the millionaires, if they want to leave, well, bye. What? What are you talking about? You're supposed to be running a whole city. You're running a whole city, bro. What the hell are you talking about? Are you okay?
There's a strong case to be made that everybody who wants to go to university should have an opportunity to do so, provided he's willing to pay for it. Not necessarily right now. It's highly desirable to have arrangements under which he can borrow now to pay it back later out of a higher income that his education will make possible. But there is no justification for imposing taxes on lower income people to finance the schooling of people who are or will be in the higher income groups. And yet, how much political movement is there to impose full-cost tuition on colleges? There is nobody who would have a ghost of a chance of being elected to a legislature or to the state house on that program. It's the hardest thing in the world legislatively to get higher tuitions imposed. Why? Because the middle class looks after itself. Because of director's law. Now, what's true for higher education is true in every other area. Consider Social Security. Now, Social Security is also sold as a program to benefit the poor. What are the facts? Social Security is a program which imposes unduly heavy taxes on the lower income groups in the society to provide higher benefits to upper income groups in the society. How does it work? It's not because of the regressive nature of the wage tax. It's not because of the structure of benefits. It's because of a very simple phenomenon. At what age do younger men from the lower classes go to work? 16, 17, 18, 19. That's when they start to pay Social Security taxes. At what age are you people going to go to work and start paying Social Security taxes?
See, he's talking to a university, to students at a university. And what is his point? His point here is Social Security is paid in America. You pay Social Security when you start working. And the lower income group, they start working at a younger age, 16, 17, 18. They start paying Social Security at 16, 17, 18 when they start working. University students, like the ones that he's speaking to now, they don't start working. A lot of them don't. Some do. A lot of them don't start working until they're 25 or so, mid-20s. So they don't start paying Social Security until like 7 years after lower income groups. So lower income groups are paying Social Security for 7 years longer than people that are in the universities.
Some of you may, in part-time jobs, have been doing so. But you will be a full-time Social Security payers only when you reach your middle 20s. So they will pay taxes for more years than you will pay taxes. Next, which one is going to receive benefits for longer? Every demographic study has shown that the average expected length of life of middle and upper income classes is longer than the average length of life of people from the lower income classes. So those poor suckers are going to pay taxes for more years and receive payments for fewer years than you and I will.
Did you guys get that second part? So the lower income class starts paying taxes when they start their jobs at 16, 17, 18. So, and the upper middle class starts when they're in their mid-20s. So they start 7 years later. And then who lives longer? The people in the upper middle class. So the lower income class starts paying Social Security 7 years before everyone else. So they're paying longer, 7 years longer into Social Security. And then they die earlier. So they don't even get the benefits on the back end.
Now, some of us, by virtue of continuing to work between 65 and 72, will not be in that favored class. But already, the fraction of people who work between 65 and 72 has been cut to a small part of what it used to be because of the incentive offered by Social Security. And overall, there is little doubt, therefore, that Social Security is a program which transfers income from low-income classes to high-income classes. Same thing is true of almost every other social program you can mention. I have often challenged people to find a single governmental program in which the people who pay taxes have higher incomes than those who get the benefits. I know only one, and that's direct relief, public assistance, the aid to families of dependent children. It's not a good program, it's a terrible program, it's a welfare mess. But so far as I can find out, it's the only program that demonstrably transfers income from higher income classes.
So he makes the argument, and this is going to be a topic for another stream. He makes the argument, and very well so, that all of our governmental welfare social programs benefit the opposite people they're intended to benefit. Literally the opposite. And it's interesting when you actually stop and hear some of this stuff, like what I just showed you, because we don't get to hear that. We don't see that. We're running around thinking, oh, yeah, absolutely. These Social Security, great program. Oh, yeah, what was the other one that I talked about? Minimum wage, great program. People want to have free healthcare, free this, free that, pay this much and subsidize people, give people money for being single moms, give people money for being this, being that. All of these programs, if you dig into them, you realize they are hurting the very people they're intended to help. And that's just the reality of the situation. This was Trump. Let's take a look at this. Was Trump yesterday. We're still waiting for Trump to go live, guys. This is Trump White House live feeds. He should be live any moment. Not yet.
Upgrade our military still further. But when I was spending all that money in my first term, it was a great term, a very unbelievable term. We had the best economic numbers that the country's ever had. Now we're going to blow them away. We're blowing them away right now. But I built the military in my first term with the help of a lot of great admirals, generals, and everybody else. And I didn't know we'd be using it quite so much, but that's okay, and whatever it is, because in the case of Iran, we're not going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And we're not going to let that happen, and we won't let that happen. And so we're dealing with people that want to make a deal very much, and we'll see whether or not they can make a deal that's satisfactory to us. We have it very much under.
Guys, again, we're waiting for Trump to go live, so just hang tight. This was yesterday's stream from Trump, and he was giving a discussion there. Yeah, what Jen says here is absolutely true. I just wanted to get to this. In a couple of your chats, I want to engage with you guys on the live chat right now. Yes, anyone in America can get rich. That is the original American dream. But our American dream has changed. And has changed ever since 1903. Right around that time. And what happened? Well, around that time, we started becoming a welfare state. And we started giving all kinds of welfare. And ever since then, when you come into this country, you can get all kinds of welfare benefits when you become a citizen. Then it became, at some point, you can get them when you become immigrants. You just come in here and you become, you get a green card and you can get your benefits. Then it got to a point where, bro, just set foot in the country and even if you're illegal, we'll give you benefits. It's crazy. Any illegal right now can go to an ER and get the same care as you and I. Anybody right now. With whose money? Your money. And that's why the American dream has changed. The American dream is no longer come into the country and work hard and be responsible and make money and put your mind to it and work and dedicate yourself and use your brain and make money. It's not that anymore. It's how can we come from a shithole country to America so we can get benefits and live, a way better life than what we were living in our shithole country. Instead of ever fixing their countries, they just bum rush into ours. And that's why you see these people. Are we helping them? No. We're creating a disaster out there. The same way our welfare programs are not helping the people that they're intended to help because we pay them to not fix their own problems. Think about that. We pay people money. We give people money for different reasons, different welfare programs. But if they make a little bit more, if they make too much, we stop giving them money. We incentivize them to not make enough in many cases. That's a problem. And at the same time, we train them to become reliant on us. Sucking the teat of Uncle Sam. They become reliable on, they depend on us. They're dependent on us. That's not a life to live. Who wants to live a life dependent on everyone else but themselves? That's not what America is all about. Never was America intended to be a place where you come and become dependent on everybody else. America was always designed by our forefathers. As I told you, I've been reading all this stuff. Here's 2 books. The Federalist and Common Sense. Thomas Paine and the other one's by everybody else involved. Maybe you could see that. Our country was not designed to do that. Our country was set up to where if you want to come here and you want to work hard or work smart or both, by golly, you could do it. And you have liberty, you have freedom. But you got to do it yourself. Come out here and do it. We'll help you a little bit. We'll be part of it for you. But man, you're not supposed to become dependent on us. And that's the problem. We've created that in our immigration system. We created that in our welfare systems. We make the whole world dependent on us. Meanwhile, they never solve their own problems. All these people that come into our country from these different countries and from Africa, they don't solve their own problems. They just come here and they're done. They don't fix them. A lot of them can't fix them. They're under horrible dictatorships and horrible oppressive governments. But it doesn't help for us to make them dependent on us. That's not a life to live. Now, yes, a lot of them do come and become successful. Some of them rig our system. Some of them lie and cheat and steal. But yes, a lot of them, do become successful with a lot of our help. With a lot of our help, a lot of the government's help, and a lot of the people around them, our help, my help, your help. And we're not doing them any justice for all the majority of these people that are becoming dependent on us. Before, it wasn't like that. 20 years ago, it was less like that. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, it was way not like that. So that's a big problem. Major problem. What's up, beautiful Bill? That's right, baby. Some good news. It's May 7th, 2026. And Trump is still our president. Here we go.
The Great White Hope.
Trump is the Great White Hope.
The Great White Hope.
All right, we're still waiting for Trump to go live. This is our feed here. We're waiting for it. Let's see. Did he go live yet? Nope. We're live on there. So he's not live yet. We're still hanging tight. There's 4,000 people sitting there waiting for him too. Just on that alone. Never mind everywhere else. We're still waiting. So as soon as he goes live, guys, I'm going to put him on for you. This is yesterday's live. I want to get to you guys in the chat though today, because until we go live, because then I'm gonna be talking to you guys less while he's live. But let me take a look at some of you guys. Let's see here. Yeah, T-Bell's right. They should not be able. People should not be able to double, triple, and quadruple dip into every single program set up. Agreed, bro. Totally agree. Trump is still your daddy.
The Great White Hope.
He is the great white hope, baby. That's right. That's right. You guys talking about oil prices? What is that? You guys talking about amongst yourselves? Not to me, huh? This is bro, $77 per barrel. Did it go down? Let me see. Oil prices. 5-day. Oh, wow. Oil prices are coming down. Holy shit. Oil prices are way down. Wow. Good call on that. Oil prices are down. Who was it crying about oil prices this whole time? The left. Trump haters. Oil prices are way down. Here, let me put this on your screen. Look at this. This is let's see, does this take us to a different screen here? Look at this. This is today. This is 5 days. This is in the last 5 days. So it's up and down, up and down. But look where it is compared to in the last month. Look at that. We're way down right here. All the people that were complaining about oil prices, guys. Should we put this lady on again? Imagine being a mayor of a city and laughing about millionaires leaving your city. Think about that for a second. Let that sink in.
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown, and if the ones that leave, like, bye.
Let's zoom in on her face so we can see how ecstatic she is when she says bye to millionaires leaving her city because their taxes are too high and they're gonna make way less money. Let's look at her face. Look. She's having a wonderful moment there. They're clapping. Look at these people. What color is their hair? What color do you think their hair is?
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown, and if the ones that leave, like, bye. I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown, and if the ones that leave, like, bye.
So we got that going on. We just talked about this. Ken Griffin. Griffin and Citadel.
350 Park.
That leaves us with the.
So where does that leave us at 350 Park?
That leaves us with the fact that we went to Miami and revised our building plan to make it a bigger office building.
You're bailing?
So what do we do at 350?
So to give you guys a little context, this is the guy that Mamdani went and made a video of pointing to his penthouse in New York. This is the guy whose company pays the highest taxes in New York City. This is the guy that Mamdani, his company paid $6 billion, I believe. Or was it $3 billion? We'll find out in a sec. And he was scheduled to build this building in New York and have these offices and all this stuff. And to build this building and all this stuff, you need contractors, you need electricians, you need all these different people. And he was going to hire, I mean, it's going to be a big, long project. And that was going to, I think, bring in $6 billion. And Mamdani decided he wants to call him out and clown him and then put his life at risk by making a video showing where he lives 2 blocks away from where that other CEO was murdered in New York. Listen to this.
So where does that leave us at 350 Park?
350 Park is where he was building this massive building, which was going to cost $6 billion. He was going to spend $6 billion or bring in $6 billion to pay for all the contractors and all that stuff. That's 350 Park.
So where does that leave us at 350 Park?
That leaves us with the fact that we went to Miami and revised our building plan to make it a bigger office building.
You're bailing?
So what do we do at 350 is still a point of discussion internally. But what is no longer a point of discussion is that Miami is now, you know, when we moved from Chicago, there was a debate between New York and Miami. It's unquestionably true that we made the right choice. I'll leave it at that. It's unquestionably true that we made the right choice. And now what the mayor of New York has made clear to my partners, and principally my New York partners, is that we need to double down on our bet in Miami, because we want to be in a state that embraces business, that embraces education, that embraces personal freedom and liberty, and that embraces people having an opportunity to live the American dream. And
we got Aaron Russell saying you only have 8 people watching. Aaron, you're only watching on one video. If you look at my channel and you go to the other video, we got 300 people in one of them. And then, of course, we got Instagram and all the other platforms. You're on YouTube. But thanks for the comment. So let's keep going.
State that embraces
I like this
business, that embraces. We need to double down on our bet in Miami, because we want to be in a state that embraces business, that embraces education, that embraces personal freedom and liberty, and that embraces people having an opportunity to live the American dream. And
yep. Again, guys, we're waiting. If you're just joining the stream, we're waiting for Trump to go live. This is the feed. He's supposed to be live, and he was supposed to be live already, but we're still waiting. And this is the video. If you guys haven't seen it, let's put this on again.
The first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than...
The damn music. Mamdani had to put music on because he couldn't just do a video by himself with his own voice. He had to add music to it.
Threatening to go forward, not threatening. The mayor of New York getting pushback from billionaire Ken Griffin and his company called Citadel. Griffin threatening to go forward, not go forward, with his planned project in Midtown Manhattan. That would create, he says, 15,000 permanent jobs.
Now, this all started when Mayor Mamdani made a social media video pushing for his and the governor's pied-à-terre tax, and doing it right in front of Griffin's apartment on Central Park South. Griffin bought it for $238 million back in 2019, even though he's not technically a New York City resident.
Oh, politics in New York City. NJ Burkett live in Midtown Manhattan with the mayor's reaction and what happens now. Newt?
Yeah, Bill, outside Griffin's apartment here on Central Park South, this is where Mamdani made his video last week. He campaigned, of course, as a Democratic socialist, and he insists tonight he's doing exactly what he was elected to do. So a clash with the city's billionaires was all but inevitable. Mayor Mamdani was making no apologies today. Asked if he regrets the video, his answer was simple.
That home, when it was purchased, was the most expensive home in the United States of America.
Last week, the mayor stood outside 220 Central Park South.
Today, we're taxing the rich.
To promote a new tax on ultra-luxury second homes.
This pied-à-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich, those who store their wealth in New York City real estate, but who don't actually live here.
Case in point, the penthouse on the 53rd floor.
Which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million.
Griffin lives in Miami, CEO of Citadel, a hedge fund that employs 2,500 people in New York. In a memo to the staff, the chief operating officer wrote, quote, "It is shameful that he used Ken's name as the example of those who supposedly aren't carrying their fair share. Griffin and the staff paid $2.3 billion in city and state taxes, he said, and Griffin himself directed $650 million in charitable gifts to city institutions."
Did you guys hear that? This is the guy Mamdani went after in that video. The guy paid $2.3 billion in taxes and has directed $650 million in charitable gifts to city institutions. Listen to this again.
Aren't carrying their fair share. Griffin and the staff paid $2.3 billion in city and state taxes, he said, and Griffin himself directed $650 million in charitable gifts to city institutions. That their planned 1,600-foot tower on Park Avenue will create over 20,000 mostly permanent jobs. Then adding, the project, if we move forward, will entail more than $6 billion of spending. If Griffin is reconsidering, Mamdani seems unconcerned.
I am intent, however, on balancing this budget in a manner that asks the wealthiest and the most profitable corporations to pay that little bit more so that everyone can afford to live in the city. And that means Ken Griffin, and that means so many others across the city. And that also means those who would love to join us in this city.
Mamdani believes he won a mandate, destined perhaps to clash with the city's billionaires.
They will do everything they can to prevent their grip from weakening.
Some in the business community tonight are urging caution.
It's a big ecosystem here, and by villainizing the wealthier people that are providing a lot of the jobs for the middle class, ultimately you get a smaller pool of jobs for the middle class, and then who wins in that environment?
Well, there are conflicting studies tonight as to whether higher taxes will lead to an exodus from New York City, and the real impact of the second home tax will, of course, depend on how it is written. Live tonight in Midtown, NJ Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
All right. So imagine these guys, this lady right here, and this lady is the mayor of Washington, and you got Mamdani, who went after Ken Griffin. And she's getting rid of the taxpayers in Washington. Meanwhile, you got Mamdani.
Where does that leave us?
The guy that has paid $2.3 billion in taxes in New York. And the guy gave to charity $650 million to city institutions. You can't make this stuff up. It's absolutely crazy. These people are nuts. Let's see what CNBC says about this.
In a push for a new pied-à-terre tax in New York targeting wealthy.
Oh, is this old? Yeah.
What the mayor of New York has made clear to my partners, and principally my New York partners, is that we need to double down on our bet in Miami. And now what the mayor of New York has made clear to my partners, and principally my New York partners, is that we need to double down on our bet in Miami. And now what the mayor of New York has made clear to my partners.
Yep.
$6 billion investment in New York City. Our company's thinking about making a $6 billion investment in New York City.
350 Park. Are you going to go through with that building?
We probably will go through the building when it's all said and done, but I got to tell you, it's a real topic of debate. The only decision that we've made with no regrets in the last few days is to expand the size of our office footprint in our new Miami headquarters.
Just in the last few days you made that?
Yes.
In reaction to New York?
In reaction to New York. We filed the permit with the city of Miami. We've added several 100,000 square feet of new space in our new building. We will add far more jobs in Miami over the next decade as an immediate and direct consequence of the mayor's poor decision here with respect to his posting of that video.
What's up, Joshua? What up, bro? We're again, guys, if you're just joining, we're waiting for Trump to go live. All right. We're still here. We're gonna have him live soon, and we're gonna also, I'm gonna take notes again, and we're gonna have a discussion afterward together. It'll be a good one. Mamdani, bro, is nuts. Don't care about nothing.
What sort of...
Again, he's gonna be taxing everybody. You think he's taxing the rich? Think again. He's gonna tax everybody.
concerns are you having when it comes to potential job losses? Are you looking at ways to, I guess, build up? And your economic development commissioner, have you thought about who you're going to appoint yet? Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll first just start by saying that I want all New Yorkers to succeed. That includes business owners and entrepreneurs who create...
That's too loud. Let's see what he has to say.
...good paying jobs, who make this city the economic engine not just of our state, but frankly of our country. And that also includes Ken Griffin, who is a major employer in our city. That does not negate the fact, however, that our tax system is fundamentally broken. It rewards extreme wealth while working people are pushed to the brink. It is a status quo that is unsustainable, that is unjust. And if we want the city to be one that working people can actually afford to live in, then we need meaningful tax reform that includes the wealthiest New Yorkers paying their fair share.
Well, it's going to include everybody, including the lower income class and the middle income class, also paying a lot more than they have paid. Let's see if you guys still remember what I've told you guys. I've told you guys this before. What amount of taxes do the top 50% of earners pay? Let's see if you can figure it out without looking it up. What amount of taxes do the top 50% of earners pay in our country? If some of you do look it up, that's okay. At least you looked it up. And then you'll have said it. No. The top 50% of earners in our country pay way more than 12%. Min is close. It's not 75%. It's actually way higher. The top 50% of earners in our country pay for what percentage of all taxes? It's a great question. Joshua is closer. Joshua says 92%. It's higher than that. It's higher than that. Let's put this on your screen so you can enjoy this. %97 of all taxes are paid by the top 50%. Think about that. It's on your screen. Let me see if I can make it a little larger for you. %97 of all taxes are paid by the top 50%. That's insane. And then you have people like Mamdani. You have people like this guy who just said what?
Ken Griffin.
Yes, Ken Griffin, who is a major employer in our city. That does not negate the fact, however, that our tax system is fundamentally broken. It rewards extreme wealth while working people are pushed to the brink. It is a status quo that is unsustainable, that is unjust. And if we want the city to be one that working people can actually afford to live in, then we need meaningful tax reform that includes the wealthiest New Yorkers paying their fair share.
The wealthiest New Yorkers paying their fair share. Imagine, guys, the top 50% of our earners in our country pay for 97% of all taxes. What does the top 20% pay? Think about this. The top 20% pay for 80 to 83% of all taxes. Forget about the top 50. The top 20% of earners in our country pay 80 to 83% of all taxes. And he's saying that our top earners need to pay their fair share. Think about that. Now we're going to make this more interesting, okay? Because we're moving up this ladder of earners. We just went over this. If you're just joining the stream, the top 50% of earners pay for 97% of all taxes. The top 20% of earners, okay, forget the top 50, top 20% pay for 80 to 83% of all taxes. The top, okay, we'll inch it. Someone says top 5%. Okay, top 5% pay for 60 to 60% of all of our taxes are paid by the top 5%. Think about that. And you want to have people like this clown come up and tell you that I think that he thinks that they should be paying more taxes, that the top earners need to pay their fair share. Bernie Sanders come out and says, the rich need to pay their fair share. Tax the rich. The top 5% pay for more than 60% of all taxes. The top 1%, this is the, again, pay for 38 to 40% of all federal taxes. Crazy. Imagine, bro, the top 1% pay for 38 to 40% of all taxes. 1% of our country pays for 38 to 40% of all taxes. And you want to say that you want to tax the rich. The rich are not paying their fair share. That's crazy. That's insanity. That's insanity. That's insanity right there. What's Zeke Cooper saying? Zeke Cooper says the top 10% of earners accounted for 70% of all taxes, while the top 25%, yeah, you're about right. You're a little off, but you're about right. Top half earn 80% of all income and paid 96%. You're about right. You're getting close. Oh, Anna Kemp, where are you at? Let me put your thing on there. Anna Kemp says, Bernie Sanders owns 3 mansions. Bet he doesn't pay his fair share either. Oh, dude, I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Okay, guys, we're still, again, if you're just joining the stream, we're waiting for Trump to go live. So we're still here. Trump is still scheduled to go live. And we're having a little fun. We're talking about taxes. And people didn't realize that the top 1% pay for 40% of all taxes. The top 20% pay for 80-some% of all taxes. And the top 50% pay for 97% of all taxes. So the bottom 50% essentially don't pay tax. They take from us. They don't give. They don't pay tax. But they love to yell at people to say, give us more, pay more tax. Imagine for a second. The bottom 50% pays no taxes, but they're screaming at us to pay more taxes. Or the rich to pay more taxes. How twisted are we? How crazy is this setup? And then you got Mia. Welcome back. Haven't seen you for a while, but Mia's back and she's still in la la land with all this stuff that the leftists have her believing. Even though she may not be a leftist, but they have her believing all this stuff. Climate change and save the planet and you know, all this other stuff. Elon Musk is evil. Oh, man. You're the Muse says everyone pays taxes. No, they don't. The bottom 50% don't pay taxes. So we're waiting for Trump, guys. He should be live. You're the Muse says payroll, property, sales tax, payroll. No, the bottom 50% typically they don't pay payroll tax. That's false. Property tax, nope, they don't pay property tax. Sales tax, yes, when they purchase things, those are not what we're talking. We're not talking about sales tax, which are local taxes for cities and states. We're talking about federal government, first of all, and we're talking about income tax, more specifically. And a lot of the income tax that we're talking about federally applies to income taxes that are paid statewide as well. So yeah, the bottom 50% don't pay taxes. Oh, Mia says, I don't believe climate and I don't believe Elon is evil. Oh, I thought you said earlier Elon was evil. Maybe I misunderstood what you said. But I do remember you had some things we disagreed on, but not everything. And I respected back in the day when I was first doing this. You were one of the originals from back in the day that you didn't agree, but you still kept coming and we still kept chatting and the conversation continued. And that was good. I respect that. I do respect that because not a lot of people can do that. They just go crazy and call people pedos and this and that and all kinds of stuff. They just lose it. So there's that. Let's see, what else do we got? Where's Trump? Trump should be live. Where is he at? We're waiting for Trump. Jason Beatrice is true. This is correct, guys. This is what we just talked about in the beginning of the stream. Right on, Mia. Right on. Right on. I just put on there. Jason Beatrice said tax cuts help tax revenue. You're exactly right. You cut taxes and you end up pulling in more tax revenue for the government. That is true. Someone in here says he just said bottom 50% don't pay payroll tax. They don't. Dude just said bottom 50% don't pay payroll tax. No, payroll tax is paid by employers. What exactly are you talking about? Guys, do your own research. Don't listen to this smirking boomer. I wish I was a boomer. I'd probably be richer if I was a boomer. I'd probably have more money. I'd probably have a lot of property right now if I was a boomer. Do yourself a favor and do your own. I think you need to fact check your fact checking. Poop search. Okay, good. Mia actually has her, is able to understand that, because a lot of people in Europe don't. And I know she's in Europe. She's in, I think, Netherlands, right? Or Holland or Amsterdam, or, whatever you want to call. Remember, we had this discussion way back in the day. What do you call that place, bro? It's Holland, or is it Netherlands, or can we just call it Amsterdam? I remember, dude, of course. 100%. 100%, dude. So, what else we got? Aaron says denying climate change is getting harder and harder. No. Believing climate change has gotten harder and harder. Way harder. In the beginning, they said that the climate, the earth is cooling. And then they came out and said, oh, no, wait. Actually, it's warming. And then they realized, wait a minute, forget about the warming and cooling. Just say climate is changing, and then we won't be wrong. And now all they say is climate change. And now they're never wrong. Climate's changing. It's like, yeah, that's what it does, bro. Like, climate changes. Not because you farted any less. Not because you decided to hold in your farts. The climate didn't change. George Carlin, dude. George Carlin. We haven't had Jesse Lee Peterson in a while. Should we get Jesse Lee Peterson on here? Or should I do here, let's do this.
You got people like this around you. Country's full of them now. People walking around all day long, every minute of the day, worried about everything. Worried about the air, worried about the water, worried about the soil. Worried about insecticides, pesticides, food additives, carcinogens. Worried about radon gas, worried about asbestos. Worried about saving endangered species. Let me tell you about endangered species, all right? Saving endangered species is just one more arrogant attempt by humans to control nature. It's arrogant meddling. It's what got us in trouble in the first place. Doesn't anybody understand that? Interfering with nature. Over 90%, way over 90% of all the species that have ever lived on this planet, are gone. They're extinct. We didn't kill them all. They just disappeared. That's what nature does. They disappear these days at the rate of 25 a day. And I mean regardless of our behavior. Irrespective of how we act on this planet, 25 species that were here today will be gone tomorrow. Let them go gracefully. Leave nature alone. Haven't we done enough? We're so self-important. So self-important. Everybody's going to save something now. Save the trees, save the bees, save the whales, save those snails. And the greatest arrogance of all, save the planet. What? Are these fucking people kidding me? Save the planet? We don't even know how to take care of ourselves yet. We haven't learned how to care for one another. We're gonna save the fucking planet? I'm getting tired of that shit. Tired.
Oh, bro. I love it, dude. I love it. He is so good, man. He is so good.
You just described a black person. No, a feminine man is a weak man because he's a woman. He's a beta.
No, he's not, Jesse.
Yeah, he's a beta.
No, he's not.
He is a beta.
I can't believe I'm being bullied right now on live on the air.
Disagreeing and complaining about the Jews.
You want to see George?
Fucking Earth Day. I'm tired of these self-righteous environmentalists, these white bourgeois liberals who think the only thing wrong with this country is there aren't enough bicycle paths. People trying to make the world safe for their Volvos.
He's talking about Mia. He's talking about you guys in Holland, in Netherlands, again, can I just call it Amsterdam?
Environmentalists don't give a shit about the planet. They don't care about the planet. Not in the abstract, they don't. Not in the abstract, they don't. You know what they're interested in? A clean place to live. Their own habitat. They're worried that someday in the future they might be personally inconvenienced. Narrow, unenlightened self-interest doesn't impress me. Besides, there is nothing wrong with the planet. Nothing wrong with the planet. The planet is fine. The people are fucked. Difference. The planet is fine. Compared to the people, the planet is doing great. It's been here 4.5 billion years. Did you ever think about the arithmetic? Planet has been here 4.5 billion years. We've been here, what, 100,000? Maybe 200,000? And we've only been engaged in heavy industry for a little over 200 years. 200 years versus 4.5 billion. And we have the conceit to think that somehow we're a threat? That somehow we're going to put in jeopardy this beautiful little blue-green ball that's just a-floating around the sun? The planet has been through a lot worse than us. Been through all kinds of things worse than us.
Yep.
Been through earthquakes, volcanoes, plate tectonics, continental drift, solar flares, sunspots, magnetic storms, the magnetic reversal of the poles, hundreds of thousands of years of bombardment by comets and asteroids and meteors, worldwide floods, tidal waves, worldwide fires, erosion, cosmic rays, recurring ice ages, and we think some plastic bags and some aluminum cans are going to make a difference? The planet.
Hold on.
Magnetic storms, the magnets are floating around the sun. The planet has been through a lot worse than us. Been through all kinds of things worse than us. Been through earthquakes, volcanoes, plate tectonics, continental drift, solar flares, sunspots, magnetic storms, the magnetic reversal of the poles, hundreds of thousands of years of bombardment by comets and asteroids and meteors, worldwide floods, tidal waves, worldwide fires, erosion, cosmic rays, recurring ice ages, and we think some plastic bags and some aluminum cans are going to make a difference? The planet.
Oh, shit.
The planet. The planet isn't going anywhere. We are. We're going away. Pack your shit, folks. We're going away. And we won't leave much of a trace either. Thank God for that. Maybe a little styrofoam. Maybe. Little styrofoam. Planet will be here and we'll be long gone. Just another failed mutation. Just another closed-end biological mistake. An evolutionary cul-de-sac. The planet will shake us off like a bad case of fleas. A surface nuisance. You want to know how the planet's doing? Ask those people at Pompeii who are frozen into position from volcanic ash how the planet's doing. Want to know if the planet's all right? Ask those people in Mexico City or Armenia or 100 other places buried under thousands of tons of earthquake rubble if they feel like a threat to the planet this week. How about those people in Kilauea, Hawaii, who build their homes right next to an active volcano and then wonder why they have lava in the living room? The planet will be here for a long, long, long time after we're gone, and it will heal itself, it will cleanse itself, because that's what it does. It's a self-correcting system. The air and the water will recover, the earth will be renewed, and if it's true that plastic is not degradable, well, the planet will simply incorporate plastic into a new paradigm, the earth plus plastic. The earth doesn't share our prejudice towards plastic. Plastic came out of the earth. The earth probably sees plastic as just another one of its children. Could be the only reason the earth allowed us to be spawned from it in the first place. It wanted plastic for itself. Didn't know how to make it. Needed us.
I love this guy, bro. Oh man, I miss him, dude. I miss him. He says, dude, it could be the reason why he made us. So because he wanted plastic and he couldn't make it himself. He had us. He wanted us to go make it for him.
Could be the answer to our age-old philosophical question, why are we here? Plastic. Assholes. So, the plastic is here. Our job is done. We can be phased out now. And I think that's really started already, don't you? I mean, to be fair, the planet probably sees us as a mild threat, something to be dealt with. And I'm sure the planet will defend itself in the manner of a large organism, like a beehive or an ant colony can muster a defense. I'm sure the planet will think of something. What would you do if you were the planet trying to defend against this pesky, troublesome species? Let's see. What might... viruses. Viruses might be good. They seem vulnerable to viruses. And viruses are tricky, always mutating and forming new strains whenever a vaccine is developed. Perhaps this first virus could be one that compromises the immune system of these creatures. Perhaps a human immunodeficiency virus, making them vulnerable to all sorts of other diseases and infections that might come along. And maybe it could be spread sexually, making them a little reluctant to engage in the act of reproduction. Well, that's a poetic note. And it's a start. And I can dream, can't I? See, I don't worry about the little things. Bees, trees, whales, snails. I think we're part of a greater wisdom than we will ever understand. A higher order. Call it what you want. Know what I call it?
No.
The big electron.
You sure?
The big electron.
Hello.
What? I thought you guys were doing the live.
Dude, Trump is not live yet. We're waiting for Trump to go live. We're having a little fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Eat your breakfast.
I still haven't eaten my breakfast. All right, I will.
Whoa. 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 It doesn't punish. It doesn't reward. It doesn't judge at all. It just is. And so are we. For a little while. Thanks for being here with me for a little while tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Good old George Carlin, dude.
I had a lot of...
Are they
white
dude.
supremacists? No. I'm sorry? This man.
I am honest. You're not
Are
honest
you
man
out of your cotton picking mind?
Yeah, work real hard.
No, they don't. That's not true.
They do landscape work.
That's not true. They don't work very hard. That's a lie, too.
No, that's not a lie.
That is a lie.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
And you said you
That's one of my buttons right here.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
I should be using that way more.
Just to see that.
This is where it comes from. This video clip right here.
Lie.
And you said you
That's a lie.
You lied, Christian.
No,
like
that's a lie.
I tell you what, that you are
You
staring
just
in my face.
lie.
You are staring in my face. You coon. You nothing but a coon. You nothing
call
but
me-
Uncle Tom. That's all you are.
You a baby.
I just want to blend in as a woman. That's all I want to do. I do a pretty good job of it.
No, you don't look like a woman at all.
Besides my chin, if I hide my chin, yes, I do.
You gotta
yes,
do.
I do, Jesse.
You gotta do more than that.
Well, that's your opinion.
No, Stevie Wonder can see that you're not a woman.
See, I'm not an adult entertainer, okay? I don't go to clubs and do shows and dance.
Hold on, bro.
No, Stevie Wonder can see that you're not a woman.
See, I'm not an adult entertainer, okay? I don't go to clubs and do shows and dance.
Oh.
I'm a proper lady. I'm just an average woman. What is funny?
Oh God.
What are you laughing at, Jesse?
I'm laughing at you. That you won't debate him. That you have cold feet. And that you are a beta male. Beta. If it's true. Beta male. And by the way, Sam said he is an alpha male. Alpha male, not a beta male. And that you are afraid to debate him. You know that's what I
Because you've said it throughout this whole conversation.
What?
Yeah.
So what is a man?
Accept that?
Hold on. The thing that made a lesbian is that a female has sex with another lesbian female.
Sexual.
Kick the chair when they do. That goes for Joel and that other boyfriend, them two other boyfriends you got just as well. You supple ass nigga.
Oh, goodbye. Amazing. He black. Video where you with the Clarence thing, it was powerful.
Thank you.
And we're going to tell people how to see it.
Okay.
It really was. It was amazing.
Yeah. I ended up getting poison behind that.
Nice.
Yeah. What you mean nice? And now you want to kill me, Jesse?
I believed into it. And then once I believed into it.
How about Black Lives Matter? How about Black Lives Matter, guys?
Lives Matter.
Yes.
And how you are a member of Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
And how long have you been a member?
Again, to 2014.
And did you know that Black Lives Matter was an organization that was founded by a bunch of fat black lesbians who hate God, who hate the family, order of the family, who hate the unborn child, and they admitted, at least one of them, that they're a Marxist group and they've been trained to do what they're doing. Did you know it was founded by some fat black lesbians?
Wow. So, okay. So first of all,
did you know that?
What we're not going to do is insult folks, right? So.
Well, they claim to be lesbians and they're fat and they're black.
Well,
I didn't do it.
So.
But did you know that it was founded by them?
Well, yes, but also too, like I said, we're not going to insult them. That's not cool, right? So don't do that again.
Would they consider that an insult?
Yes.
Why would they claim to be that? Why would they consider it an insult?
Well, time out.
I've interviewed them.
So again, like I said, like we're not going to talk about them like that.
But you knew it was founded by them, right? Before you
yes,
joined.
I personally know them, right? So we're going to stop that part.
And you knew that before they joined. What made you join?
I didn't do it.
Because normally
I
men
didn't
don't
do it.
follow
They
women
call
like
themselves that.
What made you do it?
Well, so I want to touch on a couple.
Oh man.
Earned enough. What do you mean?
Robbing, cease and desist the unjust incarcerating of our people, cease and desist flooding our communities with drugs, and ever find, because our owners of
Mommy Africa, right? Why don't you, if you people are so unhappy with America and you call yourselves African American, Mommy Africa, right? Why don't you go back to your country?
Well, first of all, because black folk are the owners of the whole planet, everywhere belongs to us, and you
Black folk are the owner of the planet and everywhere belongs to us, she says. Did you hear that? Hold on.
Black folk are the owners of the whole planet, everywhere belongs to us. And you can't say because you criticize, that makes you the most patriotic because you criticize so that America correct itself. I'm the most patriotic person you'll ever find because I want America to correct herself.
That's amazing. And correcting herself means to do what?
Correct herself meaning to stop murdering us, to cease and desist killing us, cease and desist raping and robbing, cease and desist the unjust incarcerating of our people, cease and desist flooding our communities with drugs and alcohol, cease and desist poisoning our waters, cease and desist holding on to resources that never belonged to them in the first place and for benefiting from those things. Those are the things that I want them to do. And to, you know what? show us the money.
With
Show me
the,
money.
see, I told you want money.
Yes,
Begging
because
for
it
money.
belongs to us.
There you
It
go,
belongs
begging
to
for
us.
money.
When we came over here in slave ships, was that racism?
No.
That
It
wasn't
wasn't?
racism?
He just playing.
Why do you
What
say
kind of
that?
show we on, yo?
Why do you say that was racism?
To capture and force people to go somewhere that they don't want to go.
And who were the racists promoting that, doing that? Who were the people doing that?
The so-called white man.
No, that's not true.
It's not true.
Black people were sold into slavery by blacks, wealthy,
and Arabs.
To the Arabs. It was the Arabs who sold the blacks across the world. It wasn't white people who just tiptoed over to Africa and just bought white, took white folks. They were being sold by other black people. Is that racism for black? And they are still doing that today in parts of Africa where blacks are enslaved by other blacks and Arabs. Is that
Where
racism?
every black person is not the same.
Is that racism?
Okay, so you wanna justify
Real resistance for black people is freedom, and respecting our freedom. It means
Freedom
respecting
from
the fact
what,
that we
From
can
what?
live.
From who?
Freedom to live however we want to live.
But white people don't care how you guys live.
But that's not necessarily true.
No, they want you to go away and live.
Well, at least from history, it tells us that our image, our aesthetics have always been criticized and manipulated by white people.
No.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah.
They lied to you again. Would you date a white man?
Yeah, I would.
But how are you going to have your space away from him?
I can always have my space. I can always create that space.
Would you believe me if I told you that all this stuff that you've been taught and other black kids are being taught about the black thing and white privilege and all that mess is not real? It just, you guys are being brainwashed by angry blacks who want to control you in order to gain power and wealth for themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Would you believe me if I told you that's what's really going on?
No, I wouldn't.
You would not believe me?
I would not.
I just read an article in the LA Times last week about racism, and the white people that were polled said that there wasn't really a racism problem, and the black people who were polled said that there was a racism problem. Now, who's speaking the truth there?
The white folks.
Not necessarily. I'm a white folk, and I don't believe that racism isn't a problem.
There's no such thing as racism.
Well, that doesn't, just because it's a cultural construct doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist.
No, really.
Do you believe racism?
You're a black man, and you're going to sit here and tell me that racism doesn't exist.
And I grew up on a plantation. Racism does not exist. It's a lie. Do you disagree with that?
Oh, please. I pastor an African-American church. I see it daily.
But you're a white woman. You pastor in a black church.
Yeah.
Where's your proof that racism exists?
The proof is in the...
Imagine she is a pastor at a black church.
The differences in their salaries.
In their salary? That's not true. I mean, people working at different levels and at different times and different jobs, so that's not proof.
I have women in my congregation who are caregivers.
Right.
And they are paid to the person less than the women of other races, other colors that work for the same agency.
Okay, so I pay my black employees more than I do my white
for
ones.
you.
Is that racism?
I'm not sure what that is.
It's a good
Why
question.
Racism is a power differential.
I'm discriminating against my white employees. I'm paying my black people, and my white employees are better workers.
No, it is discrimination.
Is
There's
that
no doubt about
racism?
it, but I'm not sure it's racism.
Why not?
Because the white folks still call the shots.
But I'm calling the shot.
He just ruined her whole argument. Did you hear that? You can be racist against blacks, but he can't be racist against whites by paying them less. Now, Jesse's playing her, but look at the way she's answering. Check this out. Watch this.
The shot discriminated against my employees more than
other colors that person are caregivers.
Listen to this.
And they are paid to
in their salary. That's not true. I mean, it's a lie. Do you disagree with that?
Oh, please. I pastor an African-American church. I see it daily.
But you're a white woman. You pastor in a black church.
Yeah.
Where's your proof that racism exists?
The proof is in the differences in their salaries.
In their salary? That's not true. I mean, people working at different levels and at different times and different jobs, so that's not proof.
I have women in my congregation who are caregivers.
Right.
And they are paid to the person less than the women of other races, other colors that work for the same agency.
Okay, so I pay my black employees more than I do my white
for
ones.
you.
Is that racism?
I'm not sure what that is.
Why not?
Racism is a power differential.
I'm discriminating against my white employees. I'm paying my black people, and my white employees are better workers.
So it is discrimination.
Is
There's
that
no doubt about
racism?
it, but I'm not sure it's racism.
Why not?
Because the white folks still call the shots.
But I'm calling the shot.
Well,
The
and
shots.
if you want
I'm
to
calling the
discriminate in
shot.
that manner, I don't know that anybody would ever stop you.
Is it racism?
No.
Why, if the white man does it, I don't do that, by the way. So why is it if the white man did it, it's racism? If I do it, it's not.
Because.
Do you believe
what?
white people are superior?
No.
Do you believe in white supremacy?
No. I don't believe in white supremacy in the fact that they're supreme, but the white man does have the power to lock black men up, black women up. He does have the power to put drugs in our community, not in their community. He does have the power to hire and fire. So he does have that power.
What does that feel like to hear yourself blaming and complaining about another man and that you can't make it because some other man to keep you down? I don't know what that feels like. I've never had that in my life. What does that feel like to believe that a white man can keep you down, so you got to complain about it rather than overcoming it? What does that feel like?
Well, me being an alpha male myself, I don't know what that feels like.
Are you complaining for other beta males?
No, I've never said that, though.
Getting back to your question of why white people...
I love that. I love that. We're still waiting for Trump to go live. And until we do that, I'm going to pull up a good clip for you guys. We're still waiting for Trump. He should be live soon. We're now a good 2 hours past, 2.5 hours past when he was supposed to go live. And this is still the White House feed, which is what they have up until he goes live. And so while we do that, we're going to put this on. One of my favorite, all-time favorite clips ever.
Sir, do you believe that Vice...
Let's see if we can do this right here. You're going to like this one. I love this one. This is perfect for what we just watched.
President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she... Sir, do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is...
Let's get more volume on this.
Sir, do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir,
she became a black person.
She became, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir.
So good, dude. Oh, man. She became a black person. Oh, dude, this is too much. Oh.
American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president, they attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want, and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned, and so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine, never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money.
Guys, if you're just watching, we are waiting for Trump to go live. We've been waiting for 2 hours now. We've been online. And it was like 2.5 hours ago, I think he was supposed to go live. But anyway, he should go live any moment. So as soon as he does, I'm going to put him on. But right now we're watching this old debate, which is classic stuff.
Money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first.
Let's take the last point first.
And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I never said that.
For 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine?
Acceptable.
Let's switch this up real quick because I need to put a different one in there, not that one. Where's the original one? It should be this one.
Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get...
Because Iran was broke with me.
For what I've been able to do with the... making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare,
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said
And then we have political correctness, which is this joy that is the other side of health and safety, which is a small oppression of our physical movement, so we can't do anything without permission from the state. And political correctness is the oppression of our intellectual movement, so no one says anything anymore in case somebody else gets offended. What happens if you say that and someone gets offended? Well, they can be offended. What's wrong with being offended? When did sticks and stones may break my bones stop being relevant? Isn't that what you teach children, for God's sake? That's what you teach toddlers. He called me an idiot. Don't worry about him. He's a dick. Now you have adults going, I was offended, and I have rights. Well, so what? Be offended. Nothing happens. You're an adult. Grow up. Deal with it. I was offended. I don't care. Nothing happens when you're offended. There's nothing. I went to the comedy show, and the comedian said something about the Lord, and I was offended. And when I woke up in the morning, I had leprosy. Nothing happens. I want to live in democracy, but I never want to be offended again. Well, you're an idiot. How do you make a law about offending people? How do you make it an offence to offend people? Being offended is subjective. It has everything to do with you as an individual, or a collective, or a group, or a society, or a community, your moral conditioning, your religious beliefs. What offends me may not offend you, and you want to make laws about this? I'm offended when I see boy bands, for God's sake. It's a valid offence. I'm offended. They're corporate shills posing as musicians to further a modelling career, and frankly, I'm disgusted. Right? But what am I going to do? Call the cops? Hello, it's me again. They're on the telly this time. 5 of them, that's it. Yeah, white suits dancing like girls, that's them. 5 minutes, I'll be out the front traumatised. Bye.
The marketplace, then that's a perfectly reasonable experiment to run. My point is that there is no evidence that those traits predict success in the workplace. And there's
because it's never
evidence
been tried.
Well, that's not really the case. Women have been in the workplace for what? At least ever since I've been around, the representation of women in the workplace has been about 50%. So we've run the experiment for a fairly reasonable period of time, but not, certainly not for centuries.
Let me move on to another debate that's been very controversial for you. And this is, you got in trouble for refusing to call
This is Jordan Peterson,
trans men and women
who has been very sick. I got to check on his health.
By their preferred personal pronouns.
No, that's not actually true. I got in trouble because I said I would not follow the compelled speech dictates of the federal and provincial government. I actually never got in trouble for not calling anyone anything.
Right.
That didn't happen.
You wouldn't follow the change of law, which was designed
not
to
once it was
outlaw
law.
discrimination.
No.
Well,
that's what they said it was designed to do.
Okay, you cited freedom of speech in that. Why should your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. Like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
Well, I'm very glad I put you on the spot.
Well,
I'm very glad that I have exercised my freedom of speech.
You get my point. It's like you're doing what you should do, which is digging a bit to see what the hell's going on.
So
and that is what you should do. But you're exercising your freedom of speech to certainly risk offending me. And that's fine. I think more power to you as far as I'm concerned.
So you haven't sat there and I'm just trying to work that out. I mean,
ha, gotcha.
You have got me. You have got me. I'm trying to work that through in my head. Yeah. It took a while. It
did. Yeah.
It took a while. You have voluntarily come into the studio and agreed to be questioned.
Mm-hmm.
A trans person in your class has come to your class and said they want to be called
That's never happened. And I would call them she.
So you would. So you've kind of changed your tune on that.
No, I said that right from the beginning. What I said at the beginning was that I was not going to cede the linguistic territory to radical leftists, regardless of whether or not it was put in law. That's what I said. And then the people who came after me said, oh, you must be transphobic and you'd mistreat a student in your class. It's like, I never mistreated a student in my class. I'm not transphobic, and that isn't what I said.
Well, except you've also called trans campaigners authoritarian, haven't you? I mean, isn't that grossly...
Well, only in the broader context of my claims that radical leftist ideologues are authoritarian,
yes,
which they are.
You're saying someone who's trying to work out their gender identity...
Joshua mentioned Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill. Should I pull that up? I don't think I've ever seen that. Let's see. Is this it here? Let's take a look. Here is
days in the history of the Congress. Senators investigating allegations of unwanted sexual advances by a Supreme Court nominee had waded out into uncharted and often seamy waters, hoping to arrive at the truth. But when the hearings ended at 2 o'clock this morning, 33 hours and 22 witnesses after they began, the Senate was right back where it started, having to weigh his word against hers. Anita Hill, a University of Oklahoma law professor, worked for Clarence Thomas during the early 1980s at the Department of Education and at the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. She appeared before the Senate Judiciary Committee to tell her story.
His conversations were very vivid. He spoke about acts that he had seen in pornographic films involving such matters as women having sex with animals, and films showing group sex or rape scenes. He talked about pornographic materials depicting individuals with large penises or large breasts involved in various sex acts. On several occasions, Thomas told me graphically of his own sexual prowess. Because I was extremely uncomfortable talking about sex with him at all, and particularly in such a graphic way, I told him that I did not want to talk about these subjects.
Judge Clarence Thomas had appeared to be within days of confirmation to the Supreme Court when the Anita Hill story broke. Now he was forced to return to the Judiciary Committee to defend himself, and did so with a blistering attack against his accuser, his opponents, and against the committee itself.
I would like to start by saying unequivocally, uncategorically, that I deny each and every single allegation against me today that suggested in any way that I had conversations of a sexual nature or about pornographic material with Anita Hill, that I ever attempted to date her, that I ever had any personal sexual interest in her.
Those of you asking who this is Clarence Thomas, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
Or that I in any way ever harassed her. A second, and I think more important point, I think that this today is a travesty. It's a national disgrace. And from my standpoint, as a black American, as far as I'm concerned, it is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves, to do for themselves, to have different ideas. And it is a message that unless you kowtow to an old order, this is what will happen to you. You will be lynched, destroyed, caricatured by a committee of the U.S. Senate rather than hung from a tree.
Thomas continued to lash out throughout his testimony. When he concluded Saturday evening, committee chairman Joseph Biden lashed back.
I'm getting fed up with this stuff about how terrible this system is. I hear everybody talk about how terrible the primary system is. We're big boys. I knew when I ran for president everything was free game. Anybody who runs for the Supreme Court or is appointed to the Supreme Court, to be more precise, should understand. This is not Boy Scouts. It's not Cub Scouts. In the case of the president, it's for the right to be leader of the free world, and no one ever said it would be easy. And whoever goes in the Supreme Court is going to determine the fate of this country more than anybody. For the next 20 years, we're going to have people, scrupulous and unscrupulous, respond and react. So, Judge, this is less directed at you than it is to my pontificating colleagues, Democrat and Republican alike. So, Judge, I have not made my judgment based upon this proceeding because we have not heard all the evidence.
Most members of the Judiciary Committee came away from the first 2 days of hearings agreeing on one thing. Both Hill and Thomas were credible witnesses, their testimonies powerfully convincing. The senators' hope was that the truth could be found somewhere among the 20 supporting witnesses who testified on Sunday. The rare Sunday session began with a panel of 4, each saying it was years ago that they independently learned of Anita Hill's problems with Clarence Thomas.
In the fall of 1982, Professor Hill shared with me in confidence the fact that she considered Judge Thomas's behavior toward her in the office to be inappropriate. Professor Hill did not at that time, nor in subsequent conversations, provide exact details about the action she found inappropriate conduct. She did tell me they were sexual in nature.
She told me that she was being subjected to sexual harassment from her boss.
All right, so let's take a look at something here because I got some kind of a message. Hopefully, we're not doing any copyright issue with that video there. That's an OG video on PBS public broadcast, so that should not have an issue, but who knows. Trump is still not live, and I'm going to take a look at something here. Yeah, Trump is very much supposed to be live right now. As soon as he does, we're gonna see it. We got this is the live feed that I have up for us right now. Executive orders, close press, Oval Office. Okay, yeah. Participates in a bilateral meeting. That was a long time ago. We should have been live. Where is our boy at? The Great White Hope.
The Great White Hope.
Where is he at? Dude, no, I never saw those, by the way, Joshua. I never saw those hearings, the Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas stuff. I got to look into that a little more. Yep. I'm looking at some other videos about that. Anita Hill reflects 20 years. 20 years since the hearings. What does Clarence Thomas have to say about it afterwards? Clarence Thomas talks about it. That's that was Black on Black. Anita Hill. What looks to be her lying about Clarence Thomas to stop him from becoming a Supreme Court justice. Just because he's conservative. Interesting. Very interesting. Yep. This one's 60 minutes. I want to put this on for us.
You denied all of the allegations.
Oh, absolutely. From day one, it didn't happen. I mean, so if somebody makes a broad allegation against you, what would you do?
Ask them to prove it, I guess.
Yeah.
Was the Anita Hill that testified on the Hill the Anita Hill that you knew at EEOC?
She was not the demure, religious, conservative person that they portrayed. That's not the person I knew.
Who was the person you knew?
She could defend herself, let's just put it that way. And she did not take slights very kindly. And anyone who did anything, she responded very quickly.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. So that's something I got to check into, man, see what's going on with that. And then we do have our boy. You bring this up for us. We do have our main man from Louisiana. He's a senator. And his first name is John. And where is the video that I want to show you? Is it this one?
Senator Kennedy.
No.
Associated with that, and I will work tirelessly.
Where is this video with Kennedy?
On the part of all of them either.
But where is he at? What is this?
Joining me now is Louisiana Republican Senator John Kennedy. Senator, it's great to have you on the program. What do you make of what President Obama had to tell Stephen Colbert about, I don't know, prosecuting your political opponents?
Well, I thought, I went back and looked at the video. I thought it was interesting. It's no newsflash that President Obama does not like Republicans. It occurred to me that he might have been pandering to Mr. Colbert and his audience, all 7 of them. President Obama has always been better at pandering than persuasion. That was my first thought. The other surprise that I had, I'll get back to your question about politicization, of the justice system. The other surprise to me was that I always thought President Obama was a capitalist. He certainly seems to have an affinity for Mayor Mamdani, and Mayor Mamdani is a socialist. He calls himself a democratic socialist, but that's a socialist that believes in obtaining socialism through the ballot box. So that one surprised me. Look, I don't think our criminal justice system should be politicized. I wish that President Obama had talked to Attorney General Merrick Garland and President Biden about that point. They prosecuted a former president of the United States, then Donald Trump, now President Trump. And not only was he a former president of the United States, he was a current candidate for president running against Attorney General Garland's own boss. So I remember at the time thinking that this is a slippery slope. He's
also under his presidency, right, Senator? Russiagate was launched with President-elect Trump and into President Trump's first term under the administration of President Obama.
Well, I think that's a fair point. I don't want our prosecutorial system, our criminal justice system, to be politicized. I agree on that point. But where was President Obama when President Biden and Merrick Garland started this stuff? Two wrongs don't make a right, but they do make it even. Seems to be the mantra in Washington, D.C., and I don't like it. But just because someone is prosecuted who is your political opponent doesn't necessarily mean that they shouldn't be prosecuted if they committed a crime. And that's why God made federal judges, is to decide which prosecutions are good and which are bad. I also got a kick out of Mr. Colbert. He and President Obama are obviously best buds. Maybe they ought to get a motel room or something. They were just fawning all over each other. I don't have anything against Mr. Colbert. I've always thought that he was shallow as a puddle. Now, he doesn't believe that. He thinks he's one of the smartest people on the planet. If you don't take my word for it, ask him. His personal vanity has always been unshakable. But his problem is not his vanity or his intelligence, it's his numbers. He was losing CBS $40 million a year because nobody was watching. So CBS told him to sit his 50-cent ass down. And they said, you're fired.
And we get this long goodbye tour, the longest goodbye tour in maybe entertainment.
Stephen Colbert's goodbye tour. It is the longest goodbye tour. And I'm going to pull up Kennedy right now. This is one that was posted only 7 days ago. I was having hard-boiled eggs.
My understanding is the divisions between Article 1 and Article 2 distinguish between the war powers, which are under Article 1.
Senator
having, believe it or not, hard-boiled eggs with cottage cheese, trying to get my protein before I go to the gym.
Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hendershot, when does the president have to get permission of the United States Congress to use military force?
Well, Senator Kennedy, as I was discussing with Ranking Member Durbin, I do want to be careful about hypotheticals in terms of prejudging.
It's not a hypothetical. I'm asking what the Constitution says. When does the President of the United States have to get permission from Congress to use military force?
Generally, Senator, my understanding is the divisions between Article 1 and Article 2 distinguish between the war powers, which are under Article 1 and require congressional consent. Again, it's talking in great generalities, whereas other use of force, if I understand your question, are things that are likely committed under Article 2 to the President's commander-in-chief powers.
I have no idea what you just said, Mr. Hendershot. Let's try it again. Tell me when the President has to go to Congress to get permission to use military force.
Senator, I think is when, because the text of the Constitution, Article 1, talks about declarations of war, those would be circumstances where the President would, in a general sense, and use of force that is not war under the commander-in-chief power, I think those are under Article 2 without the consultation of Congress.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. I just don't understand what you said. Mr. Jones. Let's suppose the mayor of a city. Well, strike that. Let's suppose the mayor of a city goes to his or her city council and gets a rule freezing rents. You with me?
Yes, Senator.
Freezing all rents.
Yes, Senator.
Forever and a day. Well, no, let's make it even more interesting. Reducing rents by 20%, because housing is a problem, right? Cost of housing. Let's suppose to try to help people with housing costs, the city, mayor and council, uses its police power under its state constitution as recognized by the federal constitution to say we're going to lower our rents by 20%. And as a result, because of the cost of insurance and electricity and that sort of thing, about half of the landlords in the city just say, look, we're going to have to default on our mortgage. Can this, constitutionally, can the city do that?
Well, Senator, I think it could depend. I do think the city could have some ability to freeze rents. But I think you would have to look at the
Why isn't that a taking?
Well, it certainly could be a taking. And
Well, when does it become a taking? At what point?
Well, I think it would have to be, you'd have to initially look at the impact, the financial impact on the taking of what could amount to a property.
Let's suppose, that's fair, yes, sir. Let's suppose 40% of the landlords will default on their mortgage. Have you reached the point of a taking or not? And how do you determine when you reach the point of a taking?
Well, again, I think it could depend, but there would have to be a showing that, what the financial impact was. And I
Yes, sir, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. We just have so little time. I understand that you have to have a showing. Tell me what the rule is.
Well, I think the rule is if you're taking property without, the government, I should say, taking property for a legitimate government purpose, I think you can only do that by compensating the owner of the property.
So any freeze on rent is a act of eminent domain?
Well, not necessarily, Senator. I think in your hypothetical, you were, at least as I understood it, we're talking about a financial impact, not just freezing it at the moment, but then going on down the road.
In the hypothetical I gave you, who's going to win if the landlord sued the city or the landlords?
Well, I think, again, it would depend on the length.
You're not going to give me an answer, are you?
Well, I think it could depend. I know that's a very lawyerly answer, Senator.
Yes, sir, it is. Very lawyerly. Judge, let me ask you a question in the few minutes I have. tell me under what circumstances the state legislature can draft a statute that makes a distinction that classifies people on the basis of race.
Senator, I think, Chair Grasso, may I answer?
Yes, and then we'll go to Senator Goins.
Thank you, Senator. I think these circumstances would depend on the specifics of the United States Supreme Court case law and
just give me
the
some
state constitution.
Just give me some examples.
Senator, on the basis of race, I mean, I don't think, I think in the United States Supreme Court has held that there should be no classification.
No, they've just said you got to have a compelling reason.
That is true, Senator.
So tell me what would be a compelling reason.
Senator, as we sit here today, I cannot give you a compelling reason.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Interesting. Making decision based on the race. What the hell happened to our White House? What happened to our president? Supposed to be going live. He was supposed to be live 2 hours ago. And the feed just got cut. Let's see here. It looks like the meeting is the meeting delayed? See here. Trying to figure out what happened here because the feed got cut and I'm not seeing any updates. No.
If you look at the first three letters of her name, it spells ill, I-L-L. So she's either illophonic, mentally ill, something is going on, something, the woman is sick. But for her to be able to have the power to be in our Congress, a member of Congress, and not advocate or represent American citizens, that's not what the Congress is set up for. The Congress, as a representative, you're supposed to represent Americans in America. Now, we can't go to Somalia. We can't go to these other foreign countries and represent Somalians. We can't go represent foreigners in another country as an American citizen. And so how is it that these people can infiltrate our system? And that's what they've done. That's why this country have been stagnated. That's why this country have not gone too far, except with President Donald J. Trump, because President Trump is not bought or paid for. He's for the American people. But when we have individuals that's from these foreign countries infiltrating our systems, then guess what? It's going to be stagnated. and they're going to continue to block whatever as it pertains to American citizens because they are advocating and their allegiances to their foreign country. And that's what's going on. That's what's happening. A lot of people, they're scared to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. They fear talking about it. But Silk from Diamond and Silk don't have a problem with calling a spade a spade. And we have a lot of spades up there in Congress and in the Senate that don't mean this country absolutely no good, and every last one of them need to be dismissed. They need to be gone. They need to be deported back to their own country. So it's a shame that the Save America Act have not been America have not been saved when we have Republicans that's supposed to be the leaders that can do the saving, and they won't even do it. It's a shame.
Silk, did you just do the weave? I think you did a little President Trump weave right there. That was great.
Yes.
Also, and I hear you and I agree with you. And one more question for you is this, simple as this. The corruption that we see in the education system, in media, in movies, in politics, that's really what needs to be drained, right? I mean, that's really the woke mind virus taking on truth and common sense. So we only have about a minute or two left, but so go ahead, you have the floor.
Most definitely, that needs to be drained. You know, it's hard to drain the swamp when you have rats clogging the pipe. Let me say that again. It's hard to drain the swamp when you have rats clogging the pipes. The swamp have turned into a straight up sewer. Okay, it's full of boo-boo. I could say the S word, but that's sugar, honey, iced tea, but ain't nothing sweet about it. The sewer is full of a lot of individuals that want to remain a sewer. Let's look at Hollywood. Let's look at California. Let's look at a lot of these cities that's led by Democrats. It looked like a straight up third world country, and it is corrupt from the rooter to the tutor. Okay, and you got to drain it, Matt. You have to. It has to be drained, and that's the only way that we can get our country back. Deport these illegal aliens, drain the swamp, arrest all of these corrupt political politicians who is stealing our wealth, facilitating the fraud. Stop posting all of these black people and locking up just black people, and that's it. When we have these white corrupt politicians that have facilitated the fraud. Tampon Timmy need to be locked up. Gavin Newsom need to be locked up. Pritzker's up there in Illinois, he needs to be locked up. Then they can go ahead on and get Mayor Johnson too. He needs to be locked up. All of these corrupt political.
Dude, she said Ilhan Omar her name says ill, I-L, because she's ill. I think is she mentally ill, guys?
Politicians, and I'm not making this about a black or white thing, happen to allow these terrorists to come into our country to destroy.
They don't have any planes. They don't have any anti-aircraft.
Act on it quite yet. If I get them, so I don't think there's a problem sharing that.
You know, the Democrats, he was like somebody they wanted to get out of the way because he was doing such a good job. So they went can do even in the midst. They would say, okay, if you.
Dude, I love all these new conservative black people that have started, doing podcasts and whatnot. It's awesome. I love what they have to say. It's great. It's really good. It used to be just, people like Jesse Lee Peterson and stuff like that, but now you got a lot more people coming out. And you got Larry Elders. He's been awesome. And then you see some of those CNN guys starting to kind of move from the far left or to the left down to the middle. And I just like to see that. They have a lot of good things to say. And look at her. Ilhan Omar. She has the word ill in her name. All right, guys. I think the meeting's been canceled. I think we got to call it a day. I'm going to be going to the gym late. But I'm still going to make it there. And I got a lot of stuff to develop. So I'm thinking we're going to call it quits here for this stream. I think that's going to be it for today. Is there another feed? Let me just take a look, one more peek to see if they started a new feed here. No, we don't have it. Guys, I think they canceled the meeting today. So, yeah, our feed got cut. They canceled the meeting, and I'm going to call it a day. Guys, thank you so much for joining. That was a fun little live stream. We talked about a lot of stuff, to be honest. We talked a lot about taxes. That was a big one. A lot about taxes. Don't forget, guys, over 50%, actually not over, the top 50% of earners in our country pay for 97% of all taxes. The bottom 50% don't pay taxes. The top 1%, do you guys remember what the top 1% pay? Top 1% of earners pay for what percent of all taxes? Let's give you the exact number on the way out. 40 to 46%. That's insane. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Have a good day. Bye.